Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Sweet Tips here. Today what we're going to look at is the silver solutions that I pour off from my gold refining operations. When I quart my gold with silver, I dissolve the silver out with dilute nitric acid and we pour that off into a jar out here. And today what I'm going to do is demonstrate this gigantic 24 centimeter Buchner funnel sent in to me by one of my viewers as a donation. His name is Chris. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate this greatly, man. This thing is just awesome. And today what we're going to do is demonstrate how to use this big Buchner funnel to filter out my silver solutions. Let's go do it right now. What I have here is two of my silver jars. This one has been on the heat for about 8 hours, and if you look down here you'll notice that there's some sterling silver platters in here. The reason I heat these is to consume every bit of excess nitric in here. Make sure there's some silver in here to react with the excess nitric. This one's been on for 8 hours. This one's been on for 6 to 8 hours on the heat. I'm going to take it down off the heat now. Both of these silver jars contain silver that I poured off from my gold refining operations, and they're going to be loaded with silver. Just want to show you in here. I've got some pieces of silver, if I can get to it, down in there. These are pieces of sterling silver that I put in the jar to consume the excess nitric. There's probably 3 kilos of silver back here that I need to cement out on copper. Before I do that though, what I want to do is filter those solutions to remove all the solids. Got a 4-liter filter flask here. What I normally do is bring out my 12.5 liter Buchner funnel and install that into the flask. But today what we're going to do is we're going to use this giant 24 centimeter filter that Chris sent to me. Look at this monster. Oh my goodness, look at that thing, man. It is just huge. And what this is going to do is this is really going to help me, because normally what I would have to do is pour a little bit of the silver solution in this 12.5 centimeter funnel and wait for it to drain out and then pour some more in. And today with this big one, I should be able to get both of these solutions back here, both of them poured into the funnel all at once, and then just let it pull through the filter with vacuum. Here I've got a 24 centimeter filter paper for the Buchner funnel. I've started my vacuum pump. Now we're going to wet the filter and get it to seal up. All right, I'm going to reach in here. I'm going to start with the funnel, or the solution that's already been cooled off. We're going to go ahead and pour this into our large 24 centimeter Buchner funnel. Here we go. Let's see how this is going to work, man. I wanted to show you here, I've got a large rubber seal that seals up the funnel to the mouth of the flask. Earlier I poured some solution in this silver jar, and I forgot I had a lid on the container that I was pouring in, and the lid came off inside the container. So I'm just retrieving that watch glass now out of this container. You can see I've still got some pieces of silver in here. So what I'm going to do is I've got a jar of silver solution here that has this excess nitric in it, and I'm going to add that to my silver jar to consume the additional nitric that's in this solution still. See, the problem is if you tried to cement the silver out of this solution that has the excess nitric, what would happen is as soon as you put the copper in there, the copper would dissolve, get needlessly consumed by that excess nitric. And so I've got to dissolve the silver anyway, so I might as well use this solution to consume the silver and the excess nitric that's in here. I'm going to set this jar up on the heat now, and we'll let this react to get all the silver in solution. All of this is already pulled through. Looks like I had a little bit of a sealing issue over here. This is my first time working with a large funnel like this. So inexperience, I didn't make sure that the filter paper was sealed up properly before we got started. I had a little bit of an issue here. See, there's a crease in the filter paper and a couple of holes over here that didn't seal up. I'm going to take this down, and what we'll do is I'm going to pull this filter out. We'll add that right back into the silver jar back here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take the filter. This is one giant filter, man. This thing is so cool. I'll get it right. I'm just inexperienced at using a filter this big. Well, that's something convenient. I got it perched right there on the silver jar. It just kind of is balanced perfectly and stays right there. It doesn't move. That's a nice feature. Now what I'll do is take this solution that I just filtered. We're going to transfer this into a clean beaker and refilter it. It's probably going to be okay just like it is, but all right, we'll set this back up now and continue with the filtering operation. But this time I'll make sure that I've got the filter paper seated in there correctly. Okay, let's get this filter paper in here. Be a little bit more careful. Instead of just tossing it in there and hoping for the best, I'm going to wet it down here and make sure that we've got all the holes and there's no creases. See that? That wide surface area creates some creases in the filter that we got to kind of get out of there before we start pouring the liquid in. Make sure it's seated correctly. All right, I think we got it. Okay, this is a much larger surface area, and it looks like what I want to do is start pouring right in the center. So there's a trick to using this larger filter. Can't just do like we do with the smaller ones, just throw it in there and pour the liquid in and everything cinches up all by itself. It's got to be a little bit more careful here with these larger filters. Okay, we've got it all in there now, and it seems to be doing much better now that I took the time to seat the filter paper correctly. Alright, let's get this back up on the heat now that we can continue to get this reacted. And now we'll pull this one down. This has got the hot solution in it. Go ahead and add this to the funnel now. It's kind of warm, not real boiling hot or anything. Here you can see the undissolved pieces of sterling silver in the jar. That's to ensure that I've used up all of the free nitric acid that's in that solution. Now that we've got the filter seated correctly, this is working out real nice. I'll be able to filter these solutions in 1/10 of the time that it used to take to do it previously. I'm going to add the rest of the silver solution that has the excess nitric and silver back into this jar so it can continue to react. Again, the reason I saved this solution is because it has excess nitric, and I want to consume that rather than just putting it in with the copper and letting it needlessly consume my copper. The silver's got to be dissolved anyway, so I save it and add it to a jar of silver. Here you can see the silver solutions being pulled through the filter very quickly. Man, this is nice. So much better than having to refill that smaller funnel that I used to use. Yeah, I made a mistake. Another mistake here. Put too much solution in the funnel. So now what I'm gonna have to do is pull the funnel off. You gotta understand here, I'm just getting used to using this thing. Wasn't sure of the capacity. So now what we'll do is just pull this off, set it in this beaker. All right, moving on. I'm just gonna set this out of the way now. What we'll do is concentrate on our solution that we have filtered. I'm gonna put a beaker up here. I'm gonna add some copper to the beaker here. This is clean copper tubing that I bought on Craigslist. Alright, this is some pure silver crystal that I harvested out of my silver cell. It's got distilled water on it that I used to rinse all of the electrolyte off the pure silver crystal. And we're going to use this rinse water to dilute our silver nitrate solution before we add it to the copper in this beaker. Alright, now we're going to pour some of our filtered silver nitrate solution in here and start cementing out the silver out of this solution that I'm pouring in. The silver nitrate has been allowed to remain in contact with the copper in here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now. Most of it has already come out of solution, but what I'll do is I'll stir this up and I'll set it off to the side and let it sit in there for 24 to 48 hours, stirring it up every now and then to release any silver nitrate that gets trapped down in here on the bottom of the beaker where the cement silver accumulates. It will tend to drag down silver nitrate, trap it down here. So we stir it up every now and then. As you can see, the pieces of silver or pieces of copper have already started to accumulate more silver on them after I stirred it. Move this out of the way now. Now what we'll do is we'll clean up our funnel. This funnel is a very nice, very welcome addition to my laboratory equipment here. What I'm going to do is when I get used to using it, it's really going to be a big help. I'm just going to take the filter down out of here, put it right back into this silver jar. It's going to have some gold in it. Now I'll just rinse down the insides here, get all the residue back down into the silver jar. Alright, let's get this. Just set it back in here, and then what we'll do is we'll use some distilled water here and rinse everything out of the funnel and down into our beaker. Alright, let's move the funnel out of the way here and just get it out of the way temporarily. Man, this thing is nice. Look how big that joker is, man. It's just gargantuan. It will really come in handy once I learn how to use it properly. What we'll do now is just take the rest of this silver solution, add it right back into the silver jar here. Alright, we got it all rinsed out of our beaker down into the silver jar. I'm going to leave some empty space in my silver jar here for the next time we do gold refining. I can pour off the nitric boils into my silver jar and have the excess nitric consumed by the silver in there. This is a jar of cement silver that's been allowed to set for about 3 days now, and I've stirred it many times while it's been sitting. What I have over here is a jar, or a bucket rather, that's full of pieces of copper. And what I do is when we're completed cementing the silver out, I add the waste solution to this bucket. There's copper down in the bottom of it, just in case there's any other precious metals in here, and I can collect those on the pieces of copper down in the bottom of this bucket. It's sort of like my silver refining stock pot, if you will. A little bit of silver goes over, that's okay. I'll get it out later. The silver in that beaker is ready to be harvested. The cement silver down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out these pieces of copper, and this is going to go into this this new batch of silver that we just filtered. Okay, when I do cement silver, I always use 2 filters because I'll be stirring it with a glass rod, and we may have a tendency to tear a single filter paper. So I always make sure and use 2 filters when I do rinsing of the cement filter, or the cement silver. Get 2-layer protection here. Alright, we take our cement silver that's completely cemented out, and I'm just going to add it right in to the funnel here. Here you can see how quickly the silver gets pulled through, or the solution gets pulled off of the silver rather. Do is add some cold distilled water and kind of stir this up as I do to get all of the copper rinsed off. The more copper I get rinsed off here, the less copper that I'll have to deal with in my silver cell, because this cement silver will be melted up into shot and then run through the electrolytic silver cell. Okay, here I have some boiling distilled water, and what I'm going to do is add that now to our silver powder. The boiling liquid seems to clean the copper out better than the cold water does, so I use boiling distilled water to rinse all of the copper off of the silver. Here you can see that most of the copper has been rinsed off with the boiling distilled water. So now what we'll do is I'm going to transfer the filter up out of the way. Now I'm going to add the waste copper solution to my copper stock pot here. Just pour it right on in. Any residual silver or precious metals will cement out on the copper that's down in the bottom of this bucket. And then once that's done, I'll add this to my waste treatment bucket and cement the copper out and get it ready for disposal. Now we'll put the funnel back on the flask here, and we'll continue to rinse it. Takes about a gallon of boiling distilled water to get all the copper rinsed off. Notice the color of the solution is much lighter now, and that's how we can tell when we've got most of the copper rinsed off. As that solution lightens up and actually becomes clear with enough distilled water rinses, we can conclude that all the copper has been rinsed out of our cement silver. I'm going to transfer some of this copper back into this beaker now that we've got it freed up. Pour off the rinse water from my pure silver crystal. The reason I do this is because it might have a little bit of silver in it, this rinse water. Now we're going to add some more silver out of our flask. Silver solution, and start cementing the silver out of the rest of this solution. I'm going to take the cement silver that we just rinsed out and put it in this dish. Take the paper off of here, and what we'll do is I fold this up and put it in a bag and save it. I'm going to break this cake of silver up. And what we'll do now is I'm going to move the jar of silver down off of the heat back here. It ain't that hot. I can get it with one hand. And we'll set this up here and let this dry out now. I can tell when the cement silver is dry when I put a cold spoon in there and it doesn't fog up with steam or the silver doesn't stick to it. So this cement silver's dry. What we're going to do now is I weighed the dish before I started. It was 1,003 grams. We're going to put it on this scale down here and see how much silver we got in this batch. That's 1,943. Take away 1,000, so there's 943 grams of cement silver in this dish. Okay, let's I'm going to transfer it into a bucket here. I've got a temporary storage container for my cement silver. It's a 2-gallon bucket, and I don't know how much is in here. I think it's about 20 pounds of silver in here so far. Cement silver. I'm just going to add this to that. All right, let me get this thing out of the way. Oh, dang. That's probably closer to 25 pounds. And so now what we're going to do is take a look at these 2 beakers that we added our silver solutions to. This has still got a little copper in it. Like I said, I'll stir these up and leave these setting here a couple days until we get all of the silver cemented out of these solutions. Here's the other beaker. Haven't stirred this one up yet. And if you look, man, that copper's almost gone out of this jar. I'm going to have to add some more copper pieces into this one. But you notice that this one's green, and that's because it possibly has some platinum group metals in it. And so the other one's blue because most of the metals have already cemented out. There's our piece of copper. Not much left of it. And all right, I think we pretty much got everything up to date here. Got the silver filtered out, cementing on copper. Here's the power supply for my silver cell. Notice that the amps is down to about 0.5 amps. That's when I can tell it's time to disassemble the silver cell and harvest the pure silver crystal out of here. And I'm not going to do that in this video. What I did up here is I'm still going to make some of these anode bars here. And I took my good anode bar out so it doesn't get down in the electrolyte here. And I put an older piece in that I had that has gotten down into the electrolyte and dissolved partially. So that's in there until we get down to the bottom of this anode filter and get all that silver dissolved. Okay, this will conclude the video on the silver, the cement silver. Special thanks again to Chris. This thing is awesome. It's a very unique and useful piece of laboratory equipment. As soon as I learn how to use it, it's going to be very beneficial. I've got this pure silver crystal that I harvested a while back. It's got some pretty big pieces in there, some pretty big trees, and we'll get some of this listed on my eBay store for sale. And then last but not least, I've got this tub of cement silver here That's it's probably about 25 pounds of silver. I can't hold it up any longer. And what we're going to do is I've got a crucible over here that I ordered, and I've got a set of tongs so that we can build a furnace now and do a nice big cement silver melt instead of using them little bitty melt dishes to melt the cement silver for the silver cell. So that'll probably be the next video. Okay, this will conclude this video. Thanks for watching.